Welcome to TOMMO'S Race CHINWAG, your favourite Formula 1 podcast produced by a British biased bloke with a massive Swede full of very questionable wheel knowledge. Broadcast live on YouTube and after the fact on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We have a good old natter about each and every Grand Prix of the season. My name's Tommo, let's talk about it. Well, hello there. An impromptu live stream, but we've got something to talk about, something very, very interesting to me. Plans for a Cape Town F1 circuit have been spoken about. We've seen plans in the past, but we've got some updated ones today. South Africa wants to get back on the Formula 1 calendar. Kyalami, Cape Town seem to be the two strongest bids. We'll talk about them in detail, but first of all, let's talk about Cape Town. Let's have a look at the updated designs. And Sunita, Stefan, first live chats for this stream. Stefan, on behalf of most South Africans, we don't want another street circuit. We want Kyalami back. Kyalami needs a few minor upgrades to be grade 1 versus Sunita as a Zimbabwean. This is so exciting for me. Fingers crossed. There's merit on both sides, of course, as always. And we're going to talk all about it here live on the Tommo YouTube channel. Thank you for coming. Welcome. I wanted to jump on this topic because it's interesting to me. And I feel like Bahrain's coming up so quickly. There's also a video I'm working on this week, and I wanted to kind of get this out and scratch the itch, should I say. So welcome everyone who is here live. Daniel, good to see you, mate. How you been? Let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into it. Let's talk all about the Cape Town proposal. Article dropped this morning or late this afternoon. Not actually that. Actually, no, this afternoon, wasn't it? With the design details and specifically, why is this of interest to me? Okay, particularly as an Englishman, why do I want to jump on this news? Well, I was very, very fortunate last year. I had an amazing trip to South Africa, to Cape Town. And in fact, I shot a video in Cape Town, didn't I? Boom, put this one up. 11 months ago, this was 2026. Oh, that's the audio one. 2026 Formula 1 regulations are slower than Formula 2. And this is me. Hello, me in Cape Town. And this road you can see behind me is part of the proposed circuit. We'll look at the details. We'll get into it. This is me waffling, talking around, talking about the 26 regulations. These little birds that I can't remember what they're called were knocking about. Apparently they're quite noisy, but they weren't too bad. This is the kind of green area. You see the water over here, and we'll look at the track map and I'll point out kind of where this is. But yeah, having been to Cape Town within the last 12 months and seeing this proposal, you know, there's bias there. Absolutely, there's bias because I've been in the area fairly recently, and I want to talk about it. I want to be here and I want to talk about it. But also, I particularly appreciate. I'm not sure what percentage of South African viewers I have, but it's not insignificant at all. So if you are South African, if you are from Cape Town, I'd particularly be interested in your insight and thoughts down below. And maybe if you're from Joburg, you might not be too happy. Is this a Joburg versus Cape Town thing? Because of course Kyalami is closer to Joburg, much closer to Joburg on the outskirts. So I'll be interested to hear your thoughts and feelings. Oh, I'm excited. They're called Hadadas. Is that it? Hadadas. Thank you for the insight. Appreciate it. Winch, mate. It's been a while. How you been? Good to see you. Grosjean is here. Absolutely. Right. So let's first of all, hang on. I need to manage all of my the various tabs I have open right now, and I want to kind of start by looking at the. If I do this, and this is the article from motorsport.com that covers the details, and we'll kind of go through this first of all step by step, and I'll alternate between this and the live chat. Discover Cape Town's latest F1 Grand Prix projects. Organisers behind the Cape Town Grand Prix bid explain the concept behind their ambitious street race plans. So obviously this is just for the insight in terms of where I was walking at the start of the video. You see my cursor, can't you? I was like here. I was walking down this bit at the very start of that video. And the Airbnb I stayed in was one of these down here. So it was literally right kind of outside. And also that video was filmed, literally I got that video filmed, got back to the Airbnb, edited it. And then as I was editing it, started to feel sick. And I basically didn't eat for a week. I was very ill. I don't get ill very often, but that was that was a stinker. But I did lose about a stone, which I was hoping to lose weight at that time. So every cloud, I guess. But anyway, South African government is nearing a decision on which bid to support as it aims to bring Formula One back to the country. Earlier bids to revive the South African Grand Prix at Kyalami have failed because, of course, Kyalami is the no-brainer choice for this Grand Prix. Now, we have history at Kyalami and Formula One. It has hosted Grand Prix in the past. It's been a while, and part of the problem for Kyalami is that it's a grade two circuit. Part of the problem for Kyalami is political, I guess. There haven't been many purpose-built race circuits that have come onto the calendar over recent years. It seems to predominantly be street circuits first and foremost, which of course this Cape Town proposal is. So the way F1 is going, a Cape Town street circuit proposal, we might not like it in terms of the move away from purpose-built tracks, but I'm not surprised. You might say you're disappointed, but you definitely can't say you're surprised, because I am certainly not. But they obviously want to bring it back, and you've got Rwanda making proposals. South Korea's in there as well. I think to be the first African nation to host the African Grand Prix once it returns to the calendar, a Grand Prix in Africa, should I say? South Africa. I feel like the Rwanda bid maybe has lit a fire under the organisers and the South African government, because, well, we'll talk about the merits of hosting a Grand Prix in a country, which part of why I enjoyed and found visiting not just Cape Town, but the south coast of South Africa so interesting is the history and understanding of why the country is how it is today, the history of the country, and there's always going to be pros and cons. We'll get into the details of that. But let's go through this article a little bit more. Again, Kyalami last hosted F1 race in 93, and this proposed circuit is around the waterfront area, which again, it goes all the way down here. We'll look at a proper map shortly. It's a long walk, but it's a nice walk on a good day. Quite windy though. It rained a bit as well, actually, to be fair. Two main contenders to receive public backing: Kyalami, Cape Town. Deadline set for the end of April this year. Tilka designed 5.7 kilometre circuit, which is about the same length, I want to say, as like Suzuka and Shanghai. I'm pretty sure they're both around 5.5 to 6 kilometres seems to be the sweet spot for a Formula One track. And initially the plans were to go through the stadium, and if I zoom down here, you can see this is the proposed circuit layout. So again, when I visited, I was around here in one of these buildings, and when I was filming that video, I was up here and then kind of walked all the way around here down. Decent walk. But yeah, the track, you've got the DHL Stadium, which of course was built for the 2010 World Cup. The track runs up here, down here, then fully following this down. Very wide road down there. I can see the vision. Follow it down, then you cut into a bit more of the kind of town down here, the kind of main strip in this part of Cape Town. Runs up along here, boom, around we go, up. There we go, lovely jubbly. We'll talk about the merits of the circuit maybe in a bit, but I just kind of want to go over the main talking points here. Obviously talking about meeting all the requirements, 15, 20 minutes from the airport, which is fair. Robben Island in the backgrounds. Cape Town's, by the way, separate point, Cape Town's an incredible place to visit. I would highly recommend it to any of you out there who are interested in going to South Africa. It's a wonderful country, it really is. Up against Kyalami, rich F1 history, so it's a street race versus a purpose-built circuit, but they can accommodate obviously a lot of people because of its location in Cape Town. So yes, the track proposed before, it was going to go through the circuit, through the stadium, almost in a Mexico fashion. That's not happening with this updated design, but like with Miami, where you have the circuit alongside the track, it says here that they would, if you actually run the circuit, paddock and media centre, they'd use that stadium for, which makes sense. That does make sense ultimately, I think. obviously, yeah, even if the government backs either Cape Town or Kyalami, the prospects of an actual F1 turn to South Africa are still murky. Compelling bids to tick the right boxes. Competition, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, obviously Thailand, forgot about that as well. Thailand, we know Alex has put his full support behind a Thai bid to return. Have we had a Thai Grand Prix? I don't think we have we? I'm pretty sure we haven't. And of course, you've got the recent, in fact, when I was in Cape Town last year, it was the upcoming election with the ANC kind of getting a not, is this right? They didn't get a majority for the first time since Nelson Mandela came into power. The ANC had been in power, and this was the first. Have I got that right? I think so. Not having a majority, the ANC. So there, I've kept a vague eye on South African politics since I've left. I know there's been a bit of instability with governments and with parties having different. All in all, right? I'm not going to go into the details because I don't know the details, and I don't want to make myself look stupid on the internet. But what I know is that it isn't the most stable politically, and certainly a year ago when I was there weren't the rolling blackouts at the time, but I know that was still very much a concern that was fresh in people's minds. That rolling blackouts would return and such. So, but I mean that's not so much of a Cape Town problem. That's a South Africa problem ultimately, and those are the kind of political factors that could find their way. That could get in the way, of a proposed Grand Prix. So I want to take a little look at the live chat because I've been neglecting you. Okay, people. I'm right. Yes. Okay. I am right. Thank you. ANC got a 39%. Okay, there we go. So I knew that was a thing. So yeah, I guess right. So start a poll. What should I do the poll? Because I think look, Kyalami versus Cape Town. Which do you prefer the idea of? So Kyalami being brought back to Grade 1, just outside of Joburg, just outside of Joburg, or a Cape Town street circuit in the kind of waterfront area of Cape Town. Again, having been there and experienced it, this feels quite viable to me in terms of just remembering the area, the vicinity, the width of the roads, the infrastructure that's there in terms of kind of transportation. Obviously, the backdrop of Table Mountain, as you can see in this image, although it was pretty foggy when I was there. So we did get a couple of days where we could get a good view of Table Mountain, but not all the time. But there you go. And yeah, obviously pretty windy right on the tip of South Africa. Not the most southern point. We did go to the most southern point on our drive down the south coast, but yeah, the weather would be a bit blustery down there, I reckon. Yeah, is Kyalami technically in Joburg, or is it on the outskirts? I'm not actually sure. Hockenheim is not an answer, Winch. Okay, you can't give that. And yeah, 84% of you think Kyalami. And yeah, obviously from a purist point of view, to not only go to a purpose-built track, but a purpose-built track with history in Formula One is always going to get my tick. But realistically, I don't know, it feels like Kyalami has been talked about for a long time, and it's continually hit against hurdles. Now, again, I'm not aware of, the management of Kyalami, the conversations that have gone on, but I think so much of it is down to the organisers and can they actually strike a deal with Stefano in Formula One. And it feels like maybe, again, the Rwanda bids, maybe this Cape Town bid is going to light a fire up the backside to the Kyalami organisers to get this deal done. Whether it will happen or not remains to be seen. I don't know. I feel like certainly I'd rather... Look, every country has its issues, but I would rather have this than a Rwanda Grand Prix. But so if it's Cape Town or nothing, if Kyalami can't be done, then I'd take this, because actually I do think the circuit looks okay. It looks all right. But it remains to be seen. Would it replace Spa? Well, yeah, that's the thing, James, and that's a good question. Ultimately, where do you fit these Grand Prix in? Because you can't have more than 24. You shouldn't have more than 24. I think tracks alternating is quickly becoming a more realistic prospect. We've obviously seen that with the Spa deal, how that's going to alternate on and off. Now, for all this work to go into the infrastructure, you can argue that this would only make sense as a long-term bid, but it is a street circuit, so all of the track, just like with Monaco, right? That has to get packed down. And so the idea of maybe an alternating Cape Town Grand Prix probably makes more sense than an alternating Kyalami Grand Prix, because I reckon Kyalami would need the assurances of that more permanent deal, whereas I think Cape Town could fit into a alternating calendar. Maybe with Spa. Because even though Spa and Cape Town are very far away, in terms of time zones, is it the same? Are Belgium and South Africa the same time zone? I can't actually remember how much different Cape Town... Is it 2 hours different to the UK? I still prefer Kyalami because it's close to my house. I mean, fair enough, Leon. You know what? Fair enough. Fair enough, okay? Maybe they've not considered that. Maybe they should put that in the bid. Is it near Awkward Leon's house? Maybe that's the deciding factor, right? That decides it all. So yeah, you know what? I don't mind what I'm looking at here, right? Let's just take a little bit more of a deeper look at the track itself. So nothing to indicate here. I imagine this is, you can't see my cursor. There we go. So this part here, obviously by the stadium, this looks like the pit straight. Okay, the pits are here, and then you'd obviously use this for hospitality, because like with Miami. So the start finish line, actually, yeah, you can kind of see just about in the image, you can see you probably can't see it, but I can. The start line with all the little grid boxes. And then obviously you've got, so turn one, 90-degree left-hander, pretty much. There's possibility for a run here, I think. This is not particularly long. Look, it's hard to, having walked around some of this area, not all of it, it's hard to get a read. The golf course here, I was half tempted to try and get a round in, but I couldn't. I wasn't going to drag Hannah around a golf course on a holiday. Although I did do exactly that in Portugal earlier this year and hit a 94. So it was very good. I was very happy with that. That was my best score ever at the time. So yeah, you've got this. So it's interesting that this, because it could come up here onto the waterfront, but it decides to turn left here. In fact, was it here? I think here was the pharmacy where I was at the pharmacy like 3 times, because again I was really sick. So the pharmacy is like around here somewhere, and there was a really nice place where you could get smoothies. So this is really niche and specific, but I'm just speaking my experience. Okay, this is where you could stop for smoothies. They were really good. So you've got so potential overtaking here. 90-degree corner, if you can get a run through here. Moving to the right, and then little boom here. And then nice and straight. I feel like you'd probably go flat out around here. This turn, whatever. Oh, it is actually numbered turn-wise. Oh, wait. Sorry, I just clocked. This is numbered turn-wise, and I'm actually... am I doing it in the wrong order? I don't actually know, am I? Wait, 14, 13, 11, T10, T9, 7, 6, 5. Oh, no, I'm doing it in the right order. Sorry, I'm an idiot. So there's turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, turn 6. Sorry to any audio-only people, by the way. This one's maybe not for you. But, just find a picture of the track and just, visualize it. Yeah, we can do this together. So, yeah, turn 7 looks pretty overtakey. Okay, sling one up the inside, boom. Round, following here, and then a nice another sharp left, sharp, boom, boom. Don't think you're going to get many moves done round here, but obviously, yeah, this T19, I want to say, it's very small text. T19, perhaps, and then this section here is a bit more clumsy. Kind of almost reminds me of the final sector at Miami, not the final sector, the middle sector at Miami, a little bit. You're not really going to get any moves done round here. Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it, okay? I don't know how... I mean, look, flowing nature of Kyalami, absolutely. Okay, Daniel, absolutely. The flowing nature of Kyalami, lovely jubbly. If turn 6 is the middle of the DRS straight, doing is going to get to the oh, he is going to go into the Atlantic. Okay, so most of you, 77% of you want Kyalami over Cape Town, but now that we can all see the track, okay, what do you think of this proposed Cape Town F1 circuit? Look, as street circuits go, I think this looks all right. I do, but again, I may be biased. Okay, so is it a banger? Is it a clanger? Is it a small bang, or is it a mild clang? What do you think? Let me know in the poll. I would say as street circuits go, personally, I'd give this a small bang. As street circuits go. Okay. Would I prefer Kyalami? Absolutely. But I kind of like this. And you've got the kind of waterfront area. So, right, what am I doing with these layouts? Yeah, we go. Right, so this waterfront area here is quite nice. That's kind of a bit more this way. You can't. It doesn't go that far now. But a bit more to the right is quite nice, and that's where you get the boat over to Robben Island. From this area here, so this is quite a nice area, and there's a little where is the market? I think here there's this nice little market that was open at the weekend. Again, I'm just giving you a lay of the land from my experience here, right? Because I really did enjoy Cape Town. It was one of the best cities I've ever been to. There's not many places in the world. Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I've done a good amount of traveling for a 32-year-old, and there's not many places I'd be like, I'll go back to, but I'd definitely go back. Cape Town, I'd go back to Chicago. I'd go back to, Australia, obviously, New Zealand, obviously. But there's not many other places than that. So, but Cape Town, absolutely, I'd love to go back to. And F1 at Cape Town would be a great excuse to go back. And I think, yeah, I wanted to do this stream because, I don't know, again, I am biased, but I'm just excited about the idea of this. Even though, yes, Kyalami would be better, objectively. But I like, that Clarkson meme, where it's like, this is good, but I like this, It might not be as good as Kyalami on paper, and appropriate as Kyalami on paper from like an F1 purist fan, but I like this, I like this. Come to Milwaukee, do you reckon? The Chicago of Wisconsin. Lovely. Yeah, 56% of you think small bang. 27% of you mild clang. 8% clanger. So 66% of you have somewhat positive sentiment towards this. No smoothies in Kyalami. I don't know. Are there no smoothies? If there's no nice smoothies in Kyalami, then I'm not interested. Is there a bean there? Of course there's a bean there, bias Josh. Surely, like if you've been somewhere like on holiday and then you hear about it, you're going to be more interested and be like, oh, I've been there. Oh, look at me, I'm there. So I kind of like what I'm seeing. But look, the priority in my mind is to get a South African Grand Prix. If it can be Kyalami, great. If it can't be Kyalami, I think this alternating with Spa is perhaps a thing. Distance-wise, it's very different, but no jet lag because time zones are the same. And again, I feel like it makes sense as an alternating venue to have somewhere that is a street circuit so that you're not having to bankroll infrastructure. Like Kyalami, you're going to have to pay to upgrade their circuit from a grade 2 to grade 1. Therefore, they're probably more likely to want to lock in a multi-year deal. Whereas I feel like with Cape Town, they could be like, right, we'll pop it up. Then it goes away for 2 years and then it pops back, Losing Spa for this. Maybe not. But if they're going to alternate, then at least go to South Africa. And this could actually be... I don't hate it. How does a street circuit get grade 1 listed? Well, all F1 circuits has to be grade 1 listed. So Monaco, Azerbaijan, Singapore, they're all street circuits and they're all grade 1 listed when they are built, obviously. If Kyalami actually comes, would you buy tickets? I mean, I'd absolutely love to. I mean, obviously, I'd try and get, this is my job, and I'd try and get someone to pay for it for me to come. Of course, I would. I'm fortunate to be in that position where I can at least try that. But if not, I'd love to. I mean, I'll probably go to Austin as a fan. I'd love to. You want me to show Kyle Army? Okay. We can do that. I can do some graphic stuff. Let's have a look at the Kyle Army track layout. Let's get the old Kyle Army up here then, shall we? In fact, what I'll just do is put it on here, and then I'll go screen share, and then boom. Let's just crop it like that so you can see. It looks nice. Good old Wikipedia sorting me out with the image of old Kyle Army. Now look, of course, come on, of course, this looks great. And it's not just about the layout itself, it's about let's see here, right? That's obviously what I would prefer, of course. But as street circuits go, and if it's street circuit or nothing in South Africa, and if they can't work out a deal with Kyle Army, then I would not be too upset if this proposed Cape Town layout is what we have to deal with, what we have to live with in the end. But hey, that's just my opinion, that's my thoughts, that's my feelings. Please let me know in the comments what you think. It's named corner. Yeah, I mean, it does have name corners. Name corners are great. That's what I would say. But yeah, let me know what you think. Cape Town does excite me as a potential F1 venue. But please, just get a South African Grand Prix. Get it done. Find a way to make it work. Alternating venue or permanent. Either or, okay? We'll see. And look, we saw in Suzuka this weekend, and I'm going to do a video on it. I scripted it already, trying to get it out tomorrow, as well as my Bahrain Grand Prix pre-race CHINWAG tomorrow, that just because a circuit is a classic and it bangs doesn't guarantee quality racing, which is ultimately what we should be here for first and foremost. Best of both worlds would be amazing. But let's see. Final read on the poll. What do you think of this proposed Cape Town F1 circuit? 13% of you think banger, 52% of you think small bang. So 64% of you have positive sentiment, and 26% you mild clang, 10% clanger, which means the rest of you don't like it. Don't like it a lot. Smoothie Place was called Cute, maybe. I can't remember what it was called. But decent. Anyway, thank you all for joining this impromptu live stream to talk all about the proposed Cape Town F1 track. Please drop a like on this video, rate, 5-star, comment. Yeah, if you're here on the live chat, don't forget to comment as well and give all your good live chat energy to the comments. And I'll see you tomorrow for my pre-race CHINWAG for the 2025 Bahrain Grand Prix and an extra video talking about Suzuka, basically, and why the track is not the problem. The formula is. My name's Tommo. Thanks again. Have a good one. Ta-da.